Joining us next is the artistic director of Quantum Theater, Karla Boos. Karla is well known throughout the Pittsburgh region as a writer, director, performer, and producer. She recently directed and performed in Quantum's Maria de Buenos Aires. Quantum was recently described by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as the theater company that sets itself ever new challenges, always of unconventional places, but often also of subject, text, collaboration, and artistic mode. Karla, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So first off, congratulations on your new season. And you're starting off with one of Shakespeare's best plays, Twelfth Night. What made you select this play to start off your season?
Well, I always have the next Shakespeare that I want to do in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, 4 years or something in that range since I've last done Shakespeare, and I guess I'm most attracted to the problem plays, or the plays that have both dark and light in them.
Right.
Summer is a great time for Shakespeare, in my opinion.
Great. So for those of us who may not know what Twelfth Night is about, can you sort of give us a synopsis of the story?
Sure. We're in the magical land, not magical, but a land that does not exist in reality, Illyria, which has two members of the aristocracy that we're concerned with, the Countess Olivia and the Duke Orsino. And Olivia is in mourning, and Orsino is in love with her and pursuing her, but she'll have none of him. And into this world comes a bunch of characters who are sort of deposited into Illyria from the outside. Yeah. A wonderful set of twins, and they're dropped via a shipwreck. And the two twins, brother and sister, each believe the other to have drowned. And Viola, the lady twin, becomes a page dressed as a man to the Duke Orsino, and Orsino sends her to woo Olivia on his behalf, and Olivia falls in love with Viola dressed as a man. There's a whole lot of gender ambiguity in the play. There's a lot of comedy. There's a whole comic subplot involving the other members of the household of Olivia. Malvolio, the steward, is very much made fun of by Sir Toby Belch, one of the greatest bon vivant characters of all of Shakespeare. So much is going on that is both funny and dark in Twelfth Night.
So it's sort of a dark comedy,
Yeah, it's described as a perfect comedy. It's comedy is superb and dominates the play, but there are darker themes and elements, and it's a very deep, complex, beautiful play.
Excellent. So Quantum always finds these sort of really beautiful and quirky sort of spaces. Where is Twelfth Night being performed, and what made you pick that space?
Sure. Sometimes it's harder than others to describe why I've chosen the space that I've chosen. This is a place that is both green and structured. It's got a big, very geometric building, but it's an outdoor courtyard of that building down under the Bloomfield Bridge, basically. It's in Bloomfield. It's the West Penn Hospital Foundation's former research facility. It's empty right now. They'll do something with this wonderful 4-story building down the road, but it sits in this valley in a very protected kind of way, with a giant wall that holds the hillside back. So we have this green hillside that is controlled and spilling over this wall, and a very tall building, and we've built a very tall seating bank, so it's sort of a deep bowl open to the sky.
Oh, nice.
And the buildings and the structures are really the world of Olivia and Orsino, and this spilling Appalachian hillside coming over to me is the world from which Viola and Sebastian, her brother, come.
Right. So Illyria, or
Illyria,
thank you. Illyria, you're bringing this whole set, or are you using the natural?
We're very much using what is there. There's a lot there. It's a giant, I think, wonderful Shakespearean set that plays on 2 levels, on the ground and on a quite a high roof level. And it's a
lot of projection involved.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you're bringing an all-star cast to this show. What is it like working with them? Can you tell us a little bit about who you're bringing in?
Sure. It is just a dream cast of great people, many of whom I've worked with before. First and foremost, Robin Walsh as Olivia, which is a role that is so funny and crazy, and she just has so much to bring to it, as I knew she would. But Viola is really the heroine that people often emotionally connect to the most. Robin Abramson,
right.
second Robin, is a lovely, lovely, endearing Viola. Mark Staley is the Duke Orsino. That's a great role that has the famous "If music be the food of love" speech. John Gresh. He knows I mean it as no insult when I say he is Toby Belch, and he's a great musician, so we'll maybe talk about the music aspect of the play.
Right.
Gregory Lahane, most known as a director in Pittsburgh, is a stunning Malvolio. They are not the only folks in the play.
Right,
it's rounded out by a
yes.
wonderful ensemble.
Great, and just like you said, the music, you're sort of bringing a new original musicality to this. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, yes. Shakespeare filled Twelfth Night with music anyway. It's kind of, it wears its theatricality on its sleeve, I would say, and the music in it often has a point that is being made. It's coming from a character place. I really like that, but I wanted to add even more music to it because I wanted to push that sense that it's a company of performers who are multidimensional. Shakespeare's own practices included a lot of music and dance, and I love that old-fashioned element, and
right.
so it seemed appropriate to bring it into this. It's all different kinds of music, but I think they are connected by a sort of a sense of a folk element, and we noticed. We were aware that American Appalachian music is quite connected to Elizabethan music. So there is a sort of an Appalachian feel to our music.
Excellent, cool. All right, so following up Twelfth Night, and you're going to then produce the adaptation of Graham Greene?
Graham,
thank you. Graham Greene's novel, The End of the Affair. Now, what brought you to bring this story to the stage?
There was a moment when I needed to read a play among a small gathering of people, and I couldn't find a play that I was really interested in reading at that very moment, and I was reading this novel, and I love Graham Greene, and I just sensed that it might work in a theatrical way, and I brought some actors together and just did a very embryonic draft of theatricalization of the thing there are two very iconic lovers in wartime, World War II, and then there are these other roles, and I thought it would be interesting to have one actor play those other roles, all of them, transforming. And so that's what we did. It worked really well as a reading. Meanwhile, I had been working last fall with Marty Giles, who directed When the Rain Stops Falling for Quantum, and it was just a great experience, and I thought Marty maybe would be a good person to work with on this Graham Greene. And when we talked about it, I learned that he is a huge fan of Graham Greene's, and it sort of went another step, and it seemed absolutely certain that we should do it. He's a writer, so while the draft is mine to start with, I anticipate working quite a bit with him on it from a writing standpoint, and that it be sort of developed by the ensemble that we have, hopefully soon. That work.
So this is a huge novel. How do you pick certain parts out of this to say this is right for the stage, or what do you leave out? How do you decide that?
You decide it subjectively, I guess, is the truthful answer. It's not what I would call a huge novel. It's a manageable novel, although I have in my history Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, the shared experience adaptation of Anna Karenina. But I don't know. You just certain things speak loudest to you about the work, and there is a lot going on in it. There's an interesting sort of examination of religious ideas, and there is the war as a context for this affair. Yeah,
and with the war and this love story, where are you finding a place in Pittsburgh that sort of
Too soon to say, Sean.
Too soon, yeah. still searching.
That is underway, right.
Excellent. Well, I hope you do find something great. And then next up after that will be Fat Beckett. And can you tell us a little bit about that production?
Sure. I saw this past spring, so it wasn't so long ago, this wonderful take on Beckett that two very interesting artists who are here, they're not originally from here, but they're here for now anyway, Gab Cody and Rita Reese. Rita Reese is actually from Portugal.
Yeah.
So these two women had done something very witty, funny and witty and a little sly, because Beckett's female roles are not, they're not as known or important as his male roles, and he has a real prescription against women playing his male roles.
Right.
So I think their point of departure was to poke at that a little bit. And of course, they mean no disrespect to the great Samuel Beckett, and some of his themes, some sort of Waiting for Godot-esque elements, are in this kind of absurdist thing that they've written about two women on a journey. It's not a very realistic journey, looking for their goat Beckett, which means goat in French.
Well, and then you finish up the season with the Electric Baby, and this has some sort of Pittsburgh roots, right?
Yeah, The Electric Baby is a new play that is, this will be its world premiere by a wonderful playwright named Stephanie Zadravec. She had a first, not really a first play, but her her first play that came to prominence really was called Honey Brown Eyes. This next play does tell a story that is multidimensional, and there's a personal aspect to it. Because there's a baby at its center. Then the baby, there's a lot of magic realism in the play, and the baby exerts some interesting influence and effect on the characters around it. And this lady has babies, and something went wrong with one of her babies, and they were happily and successfully treated at Pittsburgh Children's Hospital.
Okay.
And so Pittsburgh worked its way into her play. That process was sort of, the chicken and the egg are not quite clear.
Right.
But it is indeed set in Pittsburgh.
Excellent.
And it examines how we deal with grief, how we deal with trauma. It has local characters and characters also from other parts of the world who have come together post-trauma in their own lives and are a sort of salvation for each other. It's just a beautiful, interesting play.
Well, the whole season sounds very exciting. Quantum Theater opens their new season with William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, July 28th through August 21st. For tickets and more information about Quantum's upcoming season, please visit them on the web at www.quantumtheater.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.